In our last session, we got an incredible gameplay coaching from Control, a key player who began as a Discord moderator and now climbed his way into the marketing team of Pixel Vault. We'll explore Control's journey in the Pixel Vault community, his strategic insights into BattlePlan, and what excites him most about the game. From his favorite brawler and build-out strategies, to his thoughts on the leaderboard, special prizes, and the overall potential of BattlePlan in the Web3 arena. We'll even get into who he'd team up with for an ultimate battle, and also his arch nemesis in the game. Just remember, this is not financial advice and is for entertainment purposes only. So buckle up and let's get ready for another round of strategic insights and personal stories with Control on Beyond the Den. Yeah, so you're from Australia then, huh?
Yeah.
Cool. Very
Living
cool.
on the East Coast. Born and raised up in Newcastle, but I live down a bit further south now.
Very cool. How long have you been a member of Pixel Vault?
Well, I started out moderating for the Discord,
Oh, nice.
geez, it would have been October, maybe 2021. So a while ago. It was so I minted a comic when they first dropped and then just got really interested in the community and just loved like helping because there was so much game theory and stuff involved with all the tokens that I loved just jumping in and helping new people understand. Kind of like what I do lately with BattlePlan, just helping people understand and talking through strategies and stuff. And then I was just doing it that often that Potamus was like, hey, like, why don't you just mod for us? So started doing that, like contracted for until April this year. So I was still working.
Yeah, dude. That sounds like a dream gig. You guys are really making some awesome moves, and it's kind of a sigh of relief that this game is really cool. And I'm not that huge. Sure. I'm not that big of a gamer. You know, I'm a big Wolf gamer. That Wolf game kind of brought back my love for gaming. And I love the strategic end of it, the game theory, the high thought process, less time requirement is really important. And this game, though, I feel like it's starting to kind of call me back for more, right? That the little demon on my shoulder is like, come on, just play.
It tends to do that. It's like this perfect balance of getting your ass kicked, and then every now and then you'll get like 10 or 12 wins or something. You're like, okay, like this is working. I might try something different, and then you just get hooked.
Gaining that momentum in this game is important, right?
Yeah, for sure. You kind of want a few builds up your sleeve before you even go in, like just knowing. I mean, you can obviously start out completely fresh and just click around, try things. Like anyone can just jump in and give it a go. But like as everyone says, it's hard. It's easy to play, hard to master. Like there's so much that like the skill ceiling's really high, so you can get in, click around, muck around. But your best bet is to have like come into the Discord or even just when you're versing people, like take note of what's beating you and then just have a few builds up your sleeve so you know what you're kind of aiming towards each game, like have an idea of what you want to do instead of just shuffling and then kind of guessing and just picking up different skills because like certain skills might be strong, like they might seem strong, but they might not have good synergy with like what brawler you've picked or whatever. So there's just heaps to it that you kind of just want to have a good idea before you go in.
Yeah, very true. I think there's a lot of power in that for sure. So what kind of got you really excited about BattlePlan? Is there anything that like piqued your curiosity, you know, something that really fascinates you with the game?
Well, to be honest, I haven't played like a strategy like auto brawler, auto battler for like I think I tried Hearthstone years and years ago when it would have first come out. And then I've always just been kind of like first person shooter, like fast twitch games like Halo, COD, Fortnite, all that sort of stuff. A lot of League of Legends too. So when I found out that PB was doing an auto battler, Goose and that were like, well, try out Super Auto Pets, and it kind of gives you like an idea of how like these strategy games work. And then I tried that and just got completely hooked on it. Like I think once you give these types of games a go, especially if you're like a problem solver sort of person,
Hmm.
it's yeah, you just get hooked trying to like min max and like come up with the best strategies. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just loved, especially the asynchronous matchmaking. I think to answer your question would be just, I think it's a great, it lends itself really well to Web3, just
Yeah.
because like we obviously are, like the space is limited at the moment with how many people are going to jump into a PvP game. So having like real-time matchmaking with someone that has to be online at the same time kind of makes it so you have to have like these windows of gameplay, and people have to queue up every few hours at the same time to get matched. Whereas
Hmm.
asynchronous kind of, it allows you to match up with people who submitted their gameplay like 5 minutes ago, 5 hours ago, even 5 days ago. So yeah, it means pretty much instant matchmaking. You can just keep playing. There's no sitting in queues and waiting. So yeah, I love
Yeah.
that part of it.
Yeah, especially in this world too, the degenerates, they want to play when they want to play, right? They don't want to wait at all. If I were to bump into you in the street, it was like, hey, what's this battle plan game all about? How would you describe it to me?
I would call it a 3v3 auto battler strategy game. So you draft fighters that go in and automatically battle based on the strategy that you've set, and
Hmm.
they fight it out kind of like a Super Smash Bros style, like jumping around the screen and just pounding on each other. I guess that's probably how I'd
Sure.
describe it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that seems to fit the bill, that's for sure. And I love again the strategy behind it and really trying to pick these builds out, which is seems very fascinating. And there's a lot of moving parts to it. But like you said, if you can simplify things, have a strategy to start off,
Yeah, for
then,
sure.
kind of stick with that strategy or like, see how that plays out. And if you are getting annihilated, know what to do, in order to spin that. So
Yep.
that's great, man, for sure. How many hours would you say you have into playing Battle Plan?
Good question. Um, well, I think I've got 150 sessions or maybe 200 sessions. So what's that? Let's just say I think average is about 12 minutes a session.
Okay.
So we'll call it 240 hours, maybe more. I'd say more than 40, because if you count all the time like coming up with strategies and
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
I'd probably double that.
Yes, easily. And then also coaching, right?
Yeah, exactly. And this is only on chain, actually, I'm counting. So if you count before we went on chain, there was like, I don't know, a few weeks of playing a fair bit to try and like pick up the game and come up with
Sure.
strategies and stuff.
Sure. Very cool. Who is your go-to brawler?
Go-to brawler, Lone for sure. I think most people would say Bones, but I think
Okay.
Lone is definitely up there. She's got, because I don't know if you've noticed that they have their own base stats that change depending on the brawler that you pick, like their health and power and armor
Yep.
and speed.
Yep.
And Lone just has, in my opinion, like a really good balance of each.
What would you say the best loadout is with Lone?
With Lone, at the moment, for the strategies that I like to play with, I would say Ravager, because Lone has, she's kind of tanky, but has high power base stat. So the skills in Ravager, like Sledge and Shock, scale really well with power. So yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. I was talking to Benny last week, and he had mentioned that the meta changes quite frequently, right? So is that
Yeah.
something that you've always kind of thought about Lone, or what did you have like that aha moment with Lone and you're like, actually, she's a freaking badass?
Well, I think she's a badass with Ravager and like Sharp Shot. There's a few loadouts, but there are definitely some. Like if you wanted to play Gear Master, you're probably better off with Carrot or even Bones or just someone like more tanky, and then you can beef up their armor. So
Hmm.
it just depends on the loadouts that you want to play with. I like to play at the moment. The meta seems to be revolving around stuns. I don't know if everyone loves that meta, but
Yeah.
um,
You have the
Ravager
tornado
and
kick,
Tempest.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Tornado
Okay.
kick is killer.
Sure. Very interesting. But as far as the leaderboard and speculations, do you have anything, what your thoughts are on? Do you like the fact that there's a leaderboard? Do you think it kind of aids to the competition? Are you a competitive player by nature or?
Yeah, for sure. Like I love that aspect of it, the leaderboard. I think, yeah, I've always been competitive. Like I always, when I was a kid playing Halo 3, always wanted to be higher ranked than my friends and
Yeah.
playing Fortnite and stuff. I always cared about like my win-loss ratio and all that sort of stuff. I
Yeah.
know a lot of people don't, but yeah, I've always loved that aspect of
Sure.
games. So I think the leaderboard's really cool. I know for sure, even in this playtest, it like brings out the competitive nature in people. Like my friend, he even like wanted to have a sick day from work the other day because he wanted to make top 10 before the reset, and like yeah, it
Yeah.
really lends itself to a lot of gameplay, and I think people love it.
Yeah, for sure. Have they talked about prizes yet or?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how much I can say about that, but I
Aha.
know that there's some pretty sick prizes
Okay.
that will and I don't know exactly, like it might not be as simple as, oh, main prize is just season one, like whoever
Yeah.
finishes at the top. Maybe we have sprints, like there could be X prize is for top battle points for this week or weekend or whatever. So we're kind of still figuring out how to dish out the prizes and how that's going to work.
Sure. Yeah, I think there's a lot of power to timed events.
Yeah,
If it's
yeah,
like
for
24
sure.
hours, you could definitely see some of these community members not sleeping while playing this game.
Yeah, people taking like days off work to just
Oh
grind
yeah.
battle. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see it for sure.
Yeah. And
We have some cool ideas. Like I was discussing with the marketing team, just some cool like weekend prize pools. Like it doesn't have to be like main prizes. It doesn't even have to be tied to battle points. It could be like whoever gets the most wins with X loadout this
mhm.
weekend or whatever. Could be. There's a lot of
Yeah.
creative things we can come up with
Oh
there.
my goodness. Yeah, 100%. There could
Yeah.
be some crazy things to come up with. And that's where I think too, like Goose seems to be in his wheelhouse. Like right when he
Oh
talks
yeah.
about being sadistic and kind of like, making it a challenge and like the risk of losing something, I think is very important.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. The risk of losing something, plus like that, like I was saying before, just sometimes you're getting crushed, like you're constantly losing, but it's enough to just get every now and then you just get that like good run where you hit like a 15 win and like that's enough to be like, holy shit, this is awesome. Like I'm gonna do this again. Like you get hooked in. I think it's like a perfect balance of you're not just crushing the game all the time, winning
Yeah.
and then getting bored, and you're not
Yep.
just constantly getting destroyed to the point where you get too frustrated. It's like this perfect balance of frustration and fun to like motivate you to just constantly want to get better at it.
Yep. That's exactly where I am right now. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I love the fact too that they have the easy, medium, and then a hard level too. I think that is just really cool.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's awesome too. I like to use medium, like if I'm getting smashed in hard and just not getting that dopamine that I'm looking for. I'm like, I'll just go to medium, get a few wins, and, and then I'll go back to hard. Get smashed.
Get your fix, right? That's
Yeah.
funny. What's your top tier advice for somebody just starting into battle plan?
Well, like a completely fresh beginner, I would say your best bet is to come into the Discord and like ask, oh, what's the best builds at the moment, or what should I build with loan or whatever. Just ask questions. Someone's always going to answer you. But if you just wanted to jump in completely fresh and just click around and figure things out, I would just say, number one, just take note of what you lose to. So builds that are crushing you, take note of those and then see if you can make them better. Like, especially if you're fresh, like you're going up against lower rated people when you first come in. So if you can spot their builds, see, oh, I lost against this, but what could I do with that build to make it even better? And then I'll win against them. But like and then that's how you progress. It's
Mhm.
taking other people's ideas, making them better, and then eventually you'll start coming up with your own ideas when you get a bit of more of a hang of the game.
Yeah.
And then that's where you really progress, when you're the one setting the meta because no one else has thought of this. And then that changes the way everyone else is building. Like the other day, I randomly was like, oh, if I looked at the cooldown on Tornado Kick, and I looked at how long Tornado Kick lasts, and I was like, well, if I got maximum speed cooldown reduction by round 2 or 3, I could just permanently stun the enemy for the entire battle. And then so I started building that, and I think a few people got a bit annoyed by that build, but it changes the meta. Like people start building it. People are gonna build what's winning. So as no matter how cheesy it is, especially if something's on the line, people are gonna build it.
Sure. And then being the guy that changes that meta, I think is pretty rewarding for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Especially it's like if you're changing the meta and you're in Titan 3, you're playing on hard, and you've come up with an idea that's like able to win you 65% of your games that day until everyone else catches up with your idea. You're gonna get a lot more rewards for that.
Hmm. That'd be a pretty cool challenge or whatever it may be. Like you talked about community rewards or just something fun for marketing. Who can beat this meta, or top meta breaker or new meta maker or whatever. That could be kind of
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
for sure.
Whoever comes up with the most creative build, or
Yeah.
whoever can win 15 on hard with Commando's first draft. Like there's so many
Yeah.
different like ideas we could run with to try and just spice it up a bit on, like, say like a weekend. People have got more time to play. They might want to try out some new things.
Sure.
Just keeps it fun.
Yeah. And that kind of brings me to my mystery question. If you could team up with any other community member for like a tag team match in BattlePlan, who would it be and why?
This is a great question. Can it can it be a staff member? Or is
Yeah.
that
Yeah, of course.
I would have to say Andrew then. The lead game designer. He is like, I think he's like top 100 or top 200 Hearthstone player, Hearthstone Battlegrounds. So he's super smart. I would team up with him for sure. And I
Sure.
think we would crush it.
So are you a numbers guy? Or are you more like you had said you're kind of in the data and analytics?
Yeah,
Like what is that kind of like your wheelhouse, or where do you think that like where's your biggest strong point?
I think, yeah, for sure. I think you've hit the nail on the head. It'd be I like the probability side of it, like the action point management, like trying to efficiently manage your spend, and
Hmm.
just understanding the probability of things happening when you're shuffling, or the probability when you're leveling up, and trying to make the most of the hand you're dealt with each battle, really. So
Yeah.
that's where the difference is. Like whoever can make the most of, because there obviously is RNG involved. Like you're not always going to get the skills that you want. You're not always
Sure.
going to get the level ups you want. You're not always going to get the matchups that you want to verse. But
Yeah.
whoever can like come up with the most efficient way to deal with all those variables is going to progress the most.
Definitely. It's very similar to poker in that sense of like, the guy that has all the balls and he's bluffing or whatever, and like he may win a couple times, but over the long haul, that's not going to
Yeah,
work out, right? So it's important to
exactly.
pay attention to these things. My mind is not very analytical in that front. I'm more of okay, put this helmet on and run as hard as you can into that wall type person. So
Okay.
but as I'm getting older, I'm getting a little smarter. And that essentially why I reached out to the community and was like, hey, what am I doing wrong? What are these things? And, instead of always kind of like pushing the needle, because I can be a little bit of a degenerate in these, scenarios, like you're playing craps, right? Just keep pressing the 6, right? So
Yeah.
as far as a arch nemesis currently in the game, do you have any community member that like really gives you a run for your money?
An arch nemesis. I mean, it was Andrew. Like he had this Cove medic build that you would just constantly come up against in the late game. And that was super frustrating, but it was good trying to come up with ways to beat that. I think it's Coop. I come up against him a lot. Arcade Farmer a lot, because
Mm-hmm.
he's always got a lot of game time. Like he fits in a lot of battles. So
And all these guys are always playing on hard, right? For the most
yeah,
part.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I want to say Arcade Farmer because I think he plays enough that I come up against him the most, and he's always got some like strong maxed out stun build or something that just smashes me.
Hmm.
Honorable mention would actually be I think it's porkbelly.eth. I think he's a Wolf Game community member, but he spams the shit out of Cove Medic, and you constantly come up against it. So he might be my arch nemesis.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, Benny had mentioned that Cove Medic was pretty badass, really
Yeah,
challenging to beat.
super strong.
Where do you see BattlePlan going in the future? Do you foresee this being a huge blockbuster game in Web3? Like, is it just going to be in this specific niche for degenerates? Is it going to onboard a lot of the Web2 gamers? Like, where do you see it?
That's what we're hoping for. I think it definitely has the potential. Like the feedback we've been getting is amazing. Like people are getting hooked. The data that we've got in the back end for like average play times and our retention rates and stuff, all really promising. I mean, obviously we won't know like proper data until like the full game's out and it's like using actual GG token. And I think we can onboard a lot of people. I think at the set out, we're gonna mainly target crypto natives just because there obviously still is that barrier connecting your wallet and stuff, but we're gonna have a
Yeah,
couple of ways to kind of create less friction there. I think there'll be like a tutorial sort of free to play version where you can play a bunch of games to kind of get the hang of the game before you're actually connecting your wallet and putting something up of value to play.
hmm,
So things like that. I think we're definitely set up to onboard a lot of people into the game, and I think yeah, the gaming team has absolutely killed it.
yeah. I would definitely agree. The onboarding is going to be huge.
Yeah,
One of Wolf Game's biggest struggles is onboarding, right? And really trying to figure out what our specific niche is. And I do believe that Battle Plan is can be an addictive game, and a low barrier to entry I think is very important, right? I mean, you shouldn't have to necessarily own the NFT to be able to play the game, especially to just bring on the masses. There's a lot of promise to Battle Plan. I think it's going to be really cool for sure.
yeah,
And you
yeah.
got to think too, what there's only how many cores that we're playing with right now?
Nine at the moment, and yeah, there's 144 total, I think,
Okay.
and they'll roll out over the coming seasons of Battle Plan, and then there's also um, there's all the generative identities that are based on the core characters. So all those will roll in, and everyone will be able to play with their own generative identities. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's just lots of cool stuff to come. There'll be like more prize pools in future seasons. There'll be like new loadouts. There's constantly new stuff that we'll be adding to like keep things fresh and keep people playing.
Sure. Very cool. Would you recommend if I have one inhabitant, would you recommend grabbing three? I know you don't want to say it's financial advice, but you're playing with, three brawlers, correct?
Yeah, so my I don't know how much of it's been finalized, but my understanding is it'll be like when the generative identities are in there, you'll have to draft someone else's that they've put up for you to draft. So they'll take some of that GG
Yeah.
for you drafting their generative identity. So um, it's not like you need three to be able to play. It won't you won't even need one to be able to play. You just need GG or the game credits that you get
Sure.
with GG or ETH. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just that if you maybe like it's hard for me to say like what's going to have the most positive expected value because I don't know like is this pip going to be the one that's got high demand or is this one like I just it's hard to say but
Hmm.
all I can say is it's not you don't need three pips you don't even need any to play like you'll still be able to play without those NFTs
Yeah.
but if you wanted to um I mean, come up with a strategy based on like traits that these pips might have, because like say Lone has explosive shot because of her shotgun or whatever. I don't actually know if that's the trait that gives her explosive shot, but whatever trait it is, maybe you look for a pip with that because you want to build a strategy around that
Hmm.
attribute skill. So it's kind of just it's too hard to say early whether you're going to need three,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it'll be way more clear when those things start rolling out and people can start trading pips and stuff to try and build their strategies.
Sure. And that's a whole nother element of the game too, right? The
Yeah.
degenerate secondary market that's going to be moving. And you add in the price of the token, GG, where that's going to be. And it could be, the meta at one point could be, all right, I'm just going to rent out my pips. I think that if GG is the quality token that we think it's going to be, I mean, the value of it, we don't want to be just throwing around GG, right? So, and if you want to play passively, you could just rent out your pips. So I'm sure that some will have that strategy when the time comes, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, with the secondary market stuff, like that's not just for the pips, that'll be for the skill NFTs as well. So
Sure. Yeah.
those skills that you get, you'll earn them from rewards tracks that you'll access through playing. So the more battle points you earn, you'll be able to unlock certain skills, and then you could extract the underlying GG from those skills. Do whatever you want with that. You could buy more skills from the skill shop. Like you don't even. I reckon we'll see people not even necessarily. There'll be some people who would prefer like the DeFi aspect and trading and coming up with strategies to try and play. Like, have you ever played a game like World of Warcraft and people just play the game to play the auction house and try and make
Yeah.
gold? They don't actually play the actual game. It's just like a
Mm-hmm.
fun. Yeah, I think people will play it like that. Some people will.
Yeah. And that just leads to the decentralization of the game too, right? How there's all these different entrepreneurs being created.
Yeah, there'll be something for everyone. Like
Yeah.
if you're not like super strategy based, like you're not great at the auto battlers. I mean, obviously you can learn, but
Sure.
if you'd prefer trading NFTs and that there's that for you as well.
Yeah. Man, I could see Pixel Vault being a huge organization, right? That just are that's a sector, right, of a team within Pixel Vault that's just dealing with, say, the DeFi end, or like these different categories of employees or team members. So I just think it's super awesome. And
Yeah.
there's just so
I
much potential here.
I don't know how the devs do all this. Like, I mean, we do have a decent amount of staff, but they're just killing it. The amount of knowledge and like innovation they come up with is insane.
Yeah. And it's such a selfless space too. The ones that really you're just pouring your blood, sweat, and tears into it because you're fighting for something bigger too. I believe, going against the big conglomerate Web2 companies, and this is just the beginning stages. So crazy, man. Hey everyone, what is up? It is Digital Optimist here. I just want to say thank you so much for joining us on Beyond the Den. Quick favor to ask, hit that subscribe button. When you hit that subscribe button, that's going to allow me to attract top tier guests to provide you with the most value possible. Give me a follow over on X at Digital Optimist.